and Professor Peter Lewa to give the context of what we are supposed to do today. Today's topic on public participation is very, very important. The life of a country is in public participation. I'm so happy that when Henry asked the question about how many of you have ever participated in a forum, in a public participation forum, wengi wenu mlinoa mikono that you have already done that. So I hope it's not once or twice, but I hope ni kitu mnafanya mara kwa mara. That is very commendable, and it shows you are the right audience. Nyinyi ndio mnafaa kuwa kwa hii forum ya leo, so that you can share what your experiences have been, and you can also learn how you can participate in a better way. I think it was in 2019, I was going through a newspaper, and I saw an advert by my county government of Kiambu, advertising about a public participation forum. It was in the preparation for the following year's budget. And so I got curious and I checked, where is my sub-county, when will the forum be taking place? And I just decided I am going to attend, so that it was my first one, so that I go and see what happens, because that's my work. It's all about governance issues, so I wanted to see what actually happens in these places. So I decided to go. But number one, I was asking myself, at least I am able to access a newspaper inaletangwa kwa ofisi. So so I was able in that way to know there is a public participation forum happening. So nikajiuliza, ni wananchi wa ngapi wengine wa Kiambu County ambao hawapati gazeti wanaweza jua kutakuwa na public participation forum. Fine, nikasikia tena, they also do it in the local radio station. In this case, through Kameme FM, they had been running some adverts. It's fine, but still, how many residents in a county are able to access that information on radio? So, the county government ina jukumu pia kujua ni namna gani to reach out to citizens where they are with this kind of information. And in 2021, majority of you people, mko WhatsApp, mko Facebook, mko Twitter, mko kwa groups ya ward, community or neighborhood Facebook group for this, and so on and so forth. So I've never seen an advert, for example, from my county government in our Kabete, whatever resident group, and so on and so forth. So those are some of the channels to effectively reach wananchi. And then on the very day, how do you make sure people, because people like you who are able to come here, kuna kitu inaitangwa opportunity cost. You'll be here for about 2-3 hours. Umeacha ofisi yako, umeacha biashara yako, and so on and so forth. So sio watu wengi wa Machakos County wangeweza kupata hiyo privilege ya kuacha kile wanafanya wakuje hapa. And similarly to public participation forums. So you have to find ways of reaching to them as well. Like now, as we can see with Kara, being able to live stream YouTube and Facebook, so that mtu akiwa kwa kibanda yake ama kwa ofisi yake ama nyumbani pia, that they can be able to akiangalia mtoto ama akitengeneza hapa na pale, wanaweza fuata a public participation forum, what is happening, and so on and so forth. So it's about being innovative for the 21st century that we are in. So the many tools that we have. So there are many things that county governments can do, and not only that, but there are also many ways and responsibilities that as citizens we need to work together with county governments to ensure. Because when I went for that forum, it was very beneficial. I got to learn about what roads, hospitals, and what is allocated, what was previously allocated the previous year. And citizens will say, but no, nothing. We have never seen anyone come here, or a contractor sent, or a tractor, and so on and so forth. And they're able to say, sasa hii mwaka inakuja, msipatie priority hii barabara ya hapa. Sisi hatutumiangi sana. Yenye mnafaa kupatia priority ni ingine iko hapa. So that kind of thing is very important. So we are happy to see, or to have this forum today for you to engage. And I know importantly it's to hear from the county government side, so that have those 9 years been worth it. Devolution is the best thing that has happened to Kenya, if it is managed well. And I'm glad that you came, and I wish you all great engagement with the experts who are here, and that at the end of the forum there'll be clear knowledge and steps, action points that can come out of today's meeting. So thank you very much, and God bless you.
Asante sana, Robertson, for those remarks and for sharing your experiences in terms of public participation. I think that was very, very important. And at least you can now confirm that indeed we've been partners for quite some time, and we intend to continue working together so that we can impact positively on wananchi. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me now to ask Jacob Gumi to come and share with us his insight on the subject of discussion. And I'm going to request that each speaker takes 10, maximum 15 minutes on the presentation so that we can have some time for plenary for people to react. So Jacob, if you can make your presentation within that time, we'll appreciate. Karibu.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jacob Nambuki Ngumi. I work for an NGO called Young Professionals for Development. I'm happy to be part of this forum. Thanks, Henry Ocheng from Kara and Ansidel Foundation. For us as an NGO, we focus on youth empowerment, training and capacity building, and in general development of the youth in the areas of environment, ICT, governance, and public affairs. We also deal with health and also education for the youth. Our vision is to empower the youth in the Machakos County and also in other counties. I would like to make a presentation very short. Been given 15 minutes and I'll be able to do that. I was told to prepare a perspective, a youth perspective on public participation in Machakos County. And I would like to, the way it is structured, we have the successes, we have the challenges, we have the lessons learned, and we have the opportunities. And then I'll make some remarks on the way forward. For one, for public participation, it has a different meaning from county youth development projects. For us, we need to start from there, differentiate between county youth development projects and public participation. Public participation basically involves youth involvement in decision making, in setting their priorities right, in terms of representation in any institution or organ of the county government formed. So the difference basically is about consultation. Have the youth been consulted to be able to define what they want? And that what they want now is what will now be able to be implemented by the county government of Machakos, for example. But now in development projects which have been done by county, it means the county might be implementing projects which are not the interest of the youth in the county, for that matter. For example, if the government is working, for example, like for example, the Machakos Youth Conference, which was basically on employment and exposure to youth opportunities. That is a county government project. For example, the Machawood project, which focuses on the entertainment, filmmaking, dancing, music, and all that. That's a different, it's a county government project. But that is not public participation. The engagement of the youth in those projects, in terms of implementing them, is not really public participation. That's the difference between the two. Then now, let's go to the, for example, I'm going to give you examples of the county government projects which were done in the last 7 years or so. One was the Zaba Employment Conference, which was employment project, which was done by Safaricom. You remember, youth went to the People's Park to register their CVs, documents for employment. That was a project. Number two, some CSOs, NGOs and other partners were able to have a youth conference on agribusiness in Machakos County, led by our Vision Plan and others. There was also the Machakos Youth Conference, which was purely done by the county government of Machakos, which was purely a successful project. Many youth from all over the county were able to attend. And the Machawood entertainment projects, they have been quite successful. Then there's the Presidential Youth Delivery Unit, which has empowered the youth in Machakos County. Those are some of the projects. But now, public participation is different. When you go for the for the public hearing on any bill of the county assembly, when we go for the development of policy by the county government of Machakos, when we go for the CIDP, County Integrated Development Plan of the county, we go for the participation on the ADP, Annual Development Plan of the county government of Machakos. That is what we mean by public participation. And when we elect our youth to be able to represent us in county boards, like the Machakos County Social Welfare Board, which was dissolved. We have the County Budget Economic Forum, which was also active. There are other boards, water boards, and all these other boards, like the municipal boards. We have Tala Municipal Board, we have Mavoko Municipal Board, we have Machakos Municipal Board. So we would like to see the youth, we like to see our youth represented in those boards, in those organs of the county. We would like many youth to come to public forums, like the budget hearings. We have the finance bill and all others to give their views, so that their views are considered. And we would like to see in the final document, which is the outcome of that, we would like to see our youth views considered in those final documents. That's now the difference between the two, as I told you, public participation and county youth projects. Now, let's go to the successes now. Part one was the success. What has been achieved so far? For us as CSOs, kuna VSO, Volunteer Service Overseas, kuna Machakos County Youth Assembly, kuna World Vision Plan, there is the Kenya Youth Sexual Reproductive Youth Network, Kenya Red Cross, and other bodies in Machakos County. NGOs have been able to engage the youth on several matters, on public forums, on budget, on annual development plans, on the volunteer policy. There was the internship policy, which also came up the other day. Those are processes which we all participated. There was a forum organized at the youth center by the Machakos County Youth Assembly, basically on grassroots youth mobilization and public participation. Most of us attended. It was a success because the youth were brought from all the wards, 40 wards in Machakos County, to come and participate in that forum. It was a success because the youth were more excited, and the grassroots youth, who are not really urban, they are from the village, they were able to come for that meeting. So those are now the initiatives which have been done by CSOs. CSOs, I mean civil society organizations, which are non-government. Then the Machakos County, number two, the Machakos County Youth Policy was organized by the Machakos County government, was a consultative process. We participated in the Machakos County Youth Policy. We don't know what it is at the moment. Maybe the county government will tell us. Then after that, there was some youth CSOs and county government were able to partner with volunteer involving organizations, VIO, to be able to develop the county volunteer policy. So that was in 2019, 4 years ago, and the policy has never been implemented. The county volunteer policy. What we would like to see, that the youth can be able to volunteer in the county and be able to engage and use their skills and knowledge in improving the development of the county. There is also the county assembly. The county assembly has been very successful in terms of having the Bunge Mashinani. The Bunge Mashinani initiative of the county assembly was to take live debate of the county assembly to the villages, and they have done 3 so far. We were in Kidimani, they went to another place in Masinga, they went to another place. So the Bunge is live, open, in a tent, in the village. So people can chip in, people can give comments, can give questions after the end of the session. So that's Bunge Mashinani initiative of the county assembly. Is a success story of Machakos County. The other one is about the appointments of the youth in several boards of the county, as I mentioned earlier, the municipal boards. Look at Mavoko, Tala, at the river, and Machakos, at the river, and Tala, Kangunto, municipal boards. There is no youth reps in those boards. When you look at the County Budget Economic Forum, which is an organ of the county government of Machakos, there is 1 rep youth there already. but that the process of nominating her there was not the way it's supposed to be. It should have been an open discussion where the stakeholders come and meet, and they elect or nominate the youth rep in those boards. Water boards, the water boards. Even now, even as early as last week, there was appointment of the water board, Machakos Water as a company board. There was no youth rep in that board. So are the issues now we need to look at. When you look at the water and sewerage provider, it's still a challenge in terms of even the Mwala Water Board, the Mavoko Water Board, and Talakanguto water boards. All those water boards have no, even the Ata water, they have no really youth reps in those boards. So it's still a challenge. And the last point was, and the successes, is the Directorate of Youth had formed a county youth stakeholders committee some years back in 2019, but it has stalled. It has never picked up. So the county youth stakeholders committee of the formed by the Directorate of the Youth in the county government of Machakos, it has stalled. Also, although we have our subgroup, which is very, very active, we share activities there, but we need policy direction on where we are heading. Let's now come to the challenges. I can come to the challenges now. The challenges basically are several. One, the threshold of public participation. When you go to any public meetings, there is low youth attendance because the youth, for one, have apathy. They have apathy towards public participation, apathy towards political affairs. When you call an entertainment meeting, the youth will come in plenty. Call for a dance meeting, call for an employment meeting, there will be plenty. But in public participation, the youth have an apathy or low interest in politics. That's a challenge you need to address, all of us, including us as CSOs and also the county government, and also the national government for that matter. Number two, there is no incentive to drive the youth towards public participation. Incentives like fare refund, they need to have some drinks when they come for a meeting, they need to have some lunch, and some of them are hustling. They're also hustlers. They are making their ends meet wherever they are working. So they cannot leave their job to come to a whole-day public participation or 3-hour public participation without really something in their pocket because of the unemployment problem in the country, so they're hustling. So that's a challenge. The other one is about low budget allocation for the youth. There is still low budget allocation for the youth within the county to participate. You find those meetings in the villages, huko nyumbani, ni wazee na wamama wana attend, wazee na wamama. Youth attendance is very, very low, very minimal. Because maybe they were not communicated, they didn't get proper communication. Maybe the chief is the one who called the meeting and the youth don't like the chief. Those are the issues now you need to address. Maybe the assistant chief, the aliita, and he arrested one of them the other week. So most of them fear going there because they will be arrested. So those are the issues. When the village administrator or the ward administrator calls for a meeting, it's still a challenge because even during the COVID, there was issue of distancing. Because social distancing and the COVID protocols, we need a bigger place which is an open. But some of the meetings called by the county government are in boardrooms, like for the ADP and CIDP, they were done in boardrooms. And in boardrooms, only 15 people can meet in a boardroom. So there's still shortage of space for meetings. The other one is about lack of implementation of the County Public Participation Act, which was passed in 2016. That act is still in place. There are provisions we propose as NGOs to be included in that act, but they have never been implemented. The regulations and guidelines to guide the policy, we were also given, and we gave our input into the regulations. And Mr. Chalo is here, will give us insight into that from the county government of Machakos, Director of Citizens Engagement. We gave our input as CSOs, but they went quiet. That's a year, almost like 2 years ago, when the regulations were done public consultation. But up to now, we have never seen them. So we need to know the status where they are. Those guidelines basically and regulations are to guide public participation. What is the threshold of public participation? What is the numbers required for a meeting on public participation? Because you find a meeting, like when we went last week, 2 weeks ago actually, we went to the social hall there. We have been attending all the meetings of the county government on public participation, mostly all of them. We went to the social hall, and there was only 5 people. There was a newspaper advert, there was a radio announcement all over by the county government of Machakos, County Assembly of Machakos, on bills of the county assembly. But only 5 people came. And social hall can fit like 500. We don't know what really happened. I asked them, did you communicate? They said they did, but people are not there. I was number 5. Only 5 people attended, and we had to call off the meeting because that's not a quorum. A threshold, you remember the Kiambu court case? A threshold should be a minimum of 200. A minimum of 200 people meeting for any discussion to be meaningful. That's one of the issues. So the threshold of attendance is still very low for the youth in some of these meetings. The other one is there is concentration of youth in urban areas. Our youth in the rural areas miss out in so many opportunities because they lack in information channels of communication like WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube. Some of them they don't have smartphones. So it's a challenge for them accessing information. The channels used by the county assembly, county government, and even national government to communicate to the youth to come for public participation is still a challenge. We need social media platforms where we can use that information to communicate to them, for them to be able to attend. Most of them are on those channels. For those ones in the villages, we can have other means of communication, like actually using churches, announcements, but not through the chief. There is a total apathy through the provincial administration among the youth over the years. So anything done through the chiefs is still a challenge. So we need to have that in place. Then the other one is about, the other challenge we're having is the youth need to elect their own reps. Because when you're elected to any board as a youth rep, you need to report back to your constituency. You need to report back to whoever elected you, to that group which elected you to be there. Feedback. When you're elected there, you keep quiet. You discuss issues there with the boards, in any board in the county government, then you keep quiet, and that's the end of it all. There is no election procedure of nominating. But mostly those appointments are done by political patronage. If you're a friend of the governor, a friend of the deputy governor, then is when you'll be nominated. Or you support him, you're one of their supporters. You're elected as one of the members of those boards. The other one is monitoring and evaluation system is not in place. The M&D system is not in place to monitor successes of youth policy participation in Machakos County. Then the other issue was about lesson learned. Now let's come to the lesson learned. Lesson learned is they are around there for like only 3. One, there is need for increased budget allocation from the county government specifically for youth participation, not for the whole sphere, not for the whole sector of public participation. Because when you say public participation, it also include women, youth, and other sectors, even people with disability. But there is need for basically a budget specifically for youth participation, geared towards only youth participation, allocation for that purpose. There is need for formation of county youth networks for continuous engagement. We had that county youth stakeholders committee we had formed, it is stalled. So it's still not active. There is need for budget allocation for it to be able to engage continuously over the years. The Department of Citizens Participation, which Mr. Chalo heads, Augustine Chalo, should be given more money because that's the only directorate which has direct contact with the Wananchi, where the ward administrators, the village administrators, and sub-county administrators deal with Wananchi. And for any county government process, public participation, they are consulted to mobilize. They're the ones to mobilize. So they should be given funds to be able to mobilize, even airtime. Sometimes they even miss airtime to communicate. It's still a problem. So they need to be given adequate funding for them to mobilize the youth to participate. The other lesson learned, number 3, is about mainstreaming of youth in all major sectors. Mainstreaming of the youth in all major sectors. The youth are basically interested in 4 major sectors. You find health, sports, music, entertainment, and sometimes education. Those are the 4 major sectors where the youth are actively involved. The youth have no interest in agriculture. The youth have no interest in environment, no interest in lands, energy, tourism, even business, public works. They have no interest in that. So let's look at a way of mainstreaming youth engagement as a county to be able to engage them in those other areas which they have no interest. Then the other issue was about opportunities for public participation. Opportunities for public participation. That's my last section to present. What are the avenues which are now open for us to be able to engage? One is the Bunge Mashinani initiative of the County Assembly of Machakos. We need to involve the youth in that platform and be able to enhance the youth to be able to participate in most of these meetings of the County Assembly. The Machakos County Youth Assembly is a very innovative and creative network which has been dormant. Although the top officials engage with the county, but the sub-county level and ward level, it has not been active. The president and the speaker, they are very well involved and they are well informed in terms of engaging the county, even national government. The speaker and the president of the Machakos County Youth Assembly, not the speaker of the county assembly of Machakos. The Machakos County Assemblies are structured separate from both county government and both from the county assembly. So that structure, it has 40 reps, one from each ward. And I was one of the founders of that initiative. Actually, we were the one who formed that initiative. So in that regard then, we request it to be refarmed, given money, supported, to be able to mobilize youth from every ward, to be able to participate in anything which comes up on public participation. To begin an office, they have no office for one, they have no budget, they have nothing. So they operate on handouts. Fair refund, when they come, they go, they do this. So they're still not stable. So we need stability of that structure. The other one, number 3, another opportunity is the Director of Youth Affairs at the county government should be robust and well-funded. The Director of Youth Affairs at the county government of Machakos is not well-funded. Limited funds all the time. Some of the meetings which they undertake are funded by us as NGOs. They have no funds to undertake some of their own activities. They request for anything, like the youth policy, they request for this, for request from this meeting, we are able to give them funds to fund them. So the county should allocate adequate funds for that purpose, to engage the youth in the county. The other one is the Director of Citizens Engagement, the one I mentioned earlier, is very active and functional and very supportive to the youth needs, but it needs resources. It needs a lot of funding to be able to engage the youth more. Number 5 is the Presidential Youth Unit, Delivery Unit, which promotes the Big 4 Agenda Vision 2030 and SDGs at national level, has been coming to Machakos County. It is well funded. It operates from State House. There is the Presidential Youth Advisor who operates from State House, and he ensures that funding is allocated. We had several meetings, like 12 or even like 7 in Machakos County, all on all manner of issues, career development, youth employment, they all come here. And even at the county commissioner's office, we were there. We had a big meeting at his house on matters of peace and elections. We had 1,000 youth who came there, and they were all given transport and lunch and everything. It is well funded for the youth to have meaningful engagement in terms of public participation. The other one is about another opportunity for us is about the upcoming elections. It's a chance for us as young people to elect our own leaders who are supportive of our cause, who are supportive of what we want, and even we elect one of our own to be able to take up these positions. And we hope during the election time that the coming government will be youth friendly, youth inclusive. And Machakos County government, since it was formed, it has been very supportive of youth projects, youth development projects, but youth participation and inclusion is not much well done. So we need to look into that. And I want to end my comments there, and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jacob, for that very insightful presentation. You know, they normally say that this country has more than, is it 75% youth? About 75%. And when you have that kind of number of people, you can't have any meaningful discussion without listening to what they have to say. So the reason why we brought Jacob on board is because we wanted him to just share with us what is it that the youth think about public participation and some of the issues that they think needs to be done maybe differently. And I think he has listed them very, very effectively. He has talked about what they consider the successes and what are the challenges. Of course, looking at why is there a low participation of the youth on various public participation initiatives. I think that's one of the things he has raised, that the youth rarely attend some of these forums. And it's either because of the way it is communicated, or because they don't think it will make a difference, or they don't just appreciate that whatever they're going to do in terms of being involved will actually result into something that will benefit them. So these are real issues that we need to look at very critically, and we need to ensure that we are talking about solutions to this kind of issues, because if the youth are not participating in public participation platforms, then it means there's something not happening right, because whatever decisions are being made will not reflect their views and expectations. So having heard from Jacob that very useful presentation, we want to hear from the business community, because again, we talk about business. That is basically what we could call the centrality of a number of things that we do. So we must also hear what the business community think about the issue of public participation, and whether they are involved or not, and what they think needs to be done differently to make sure that we are having a meaningful conversation. So Joseph Mutavi Kithu is the chairman of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce, Machakos County, and he'll share with us his perspective on the topic of discussion, and of course also let us know how they think we need to improve public participation. So Bwana Kithu, please take the floor and share with us your views. You have about 10 minutes, maximum 15, to be able to take us through your presentation.
My name's Mutavi Kithu. I'm the chairman, Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Machakos chapter. I'm sharing this forum with a bit of advantage on my side, having served in the what used to be called the local authorities with my brother here, and public participation then was public participation. I'm saying this because what was presented in the participation forums was what was taken to the local authorities, and it was what was what do I say? It is what we said that was done by the government then. Public participation is very important because the consumers of the government services have a right to say what they want at that particular time. It also avoids duplication of some of the services to the people. If you come to my village, I happen to share a village with my brother, Professor Lewa. If you come to my village, to our village, and you say that you want to put up a road, and we need some water, that will be your feeling. But for us, we need the water. That is why we are supposed to be given an opportunity to say what we want. Not only saying what we want, but also prioritizing on those projects as the people who are going to consume them. We also have an opportunity to audit what we said in the previous times. If you bring a public participation to Machakos town, we have an opportunity to know what happened to what we proposed last year, and why some of the projects were done and some of the projects were not done. So that is why we have the public participation. But we have some challenges with public participation, and I'm saying this without fear of contradiction. We have, since the advent of the devolved units, we have had a very, very nasty process. We have had political interference from the leaders. Somebody wants to put a project, maybe that is going to benefit him, maybe to make him invest more votes in the coming elections. That is one of the biggest challenges. An MCA would come to the village and would say that he wants a project that is going to make him earn more votes in the coming election. That's a very big challenge. The other challenge is about vested interests, both political and financial. You see, during our times, I said I will refer to the local authorities' time. During our time, you could not see a councillor doing business with the government or with a local authority. But nowadays, you are seeing an MCA doing tendering and doing business with the county government. These people are the ones who are supposed to check for us as residents. If I'm an MCA and I'm given an opportunity to maybe scoop a dam somewhere in my ward, if that dam is not done well, how will the residents come to me so that I can go and ask the executive why they did not do it well? So that those are the vested interests. And unless we divorce this tendering process from the political wing, we are not going to make a lot of inroads. Number two, we have a misinformed public, or a public that is not interested. Mr. Ngumi has said that they met at the social hall, and there were only 5 of them. I also happened to come there, but I met just the 4 people, and I had just to go because I thought maybe the meeting had been postponed or something like that. So our people are not informed. People do not want to participate. The other problem is about poor management. The process is poorly managed. From the time of announcing the public meetings for public participation to the time of taking these people to the meetings, that process is poorly managed. I would say that the executive, the county executive, has played a very big role in poorly mismanaging the process. The other problem is about sustainability. Those who participate in public participation this year are not the same people who will participate next year. So it brings the gaps, and the executive normally take advantage of that. During our times, we used to see very robust residents associations. That time we used to see a man called Mr. Kavila. Kavila was always on our toes, and he was the chairman of the Machakos Residents Association. We could not pass anything in our assembly at that time without the input of Mr. Kavila. Nowadays, we don't see such kind of people. Residents associations have become moribund. They are not active. They are not saying anything. So, as I finish my comments, I would say that public participation nowadays is not meaningful, and it doesn't meet the threshold Mr. Ngumi was talking about, and our interests are not taken care of. What we present is not what comes out. As a business community, when we meet, we normally get those invitations. But whatever we propose in those meetings is not what comes out of the policies that are made by the county government. So we still feel that we are shortchanged, and we have a lot to be consulted. The county government has involved us in some of the boards. We are participating in most of the boards, and that is very good. That is a plus, because the first term of Machakos County government, we did not have any representation from from the business community. But I can say this year, that this term now, we are heavily represented in most of the boards, and that is a plus to the government. So thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Bwana Kitu, for sharing your perspective from the business community. And he has given, sorry, he has given us a mirror of what used to happen then and what is happening now. So he seems to be saying that we need to do better. It seems like things are happening better previously. And certainly, he's been able to highlight some of the challenges they face even as business community in this particular county. So we'll reflect on that during the plenary and of course also give our input. So we are going to have our next presentation from Professor Peter Lewa, who, as I mentioned, is a governance expert, and will share with us just what exactly this means to him and how we can be able to engage more effectively. We've also been joined by Bwana Kimeo, who is the CEC in charge of public service and ICT. So after Professor Lewa's presentation, we'll be able to hear from the county government. So Professor Lewa, karibu.
Do this. Good morning. Kwa sababu niliomba asubuhi, nitatoa hivi. Niambia Mungu aniangalie. But I have to take care. Right. Yeah, kama vile mmeambiwa, naitwa Mutuku wa Lewa, Professor Peter Mutuku Lewa. My brother here, who has worked with me for many years, says I'm here to give the academic angle. Let me say that I'm not here to say theory. I'm here to speak experience. Because I've been having the fortune of retiring twice. I'm a retired civil servant. I worked in government for many years. And in 2019, I retired as the dean of the business school at USU. So I've been retired twice. And so I've seen it all. Many years back, Bwana Mutabi worked with me, and I don't think he remembers. I was a consultant for local government system in Kenya, and we introduced the infamous. Hii mnyama ambao watu wametumia kukula pesa yetu was our introduction, but we didn't put vitu vya kukula huko ndani. Those are innovations by Kenyans, and the Kenyans are very innovative. In fact, mzungu ambaye tulifanya kazi na yeye kwa infamous, aliniambia, you Kenyans must thank your God because you are so smart. The only thing you can't do is to create a human being and put life in him. But hiyo create mtu mnaweza. And that is Kenya, according to a mzungu from Britain, where I went to for my schooling. I've been a professor and I believe in showing people things. So please, let me just ask one of the beautiful ladies there, my sisters there, to just play that thing for us. Are you able to operate that? Ama nikuje huku? Yeah, you can operate that for us, or some young gentleman in honor of women. Ladies first. So I was just giving ladies the opportunity to be number one. I think the on button is somewhere. And you're here. That's a machine. Anyway, as they set up the machine, let me do what I do best. And Henry has not given me any gifts to give you, but I like giving gifts to people when they answer my questions. I want you to do a very simple calculation. Very simple calculation. Now that you see how I look like, let me now put this back. Hatujui mnyama anatoka wapi, wengine hata nabeba from where I came from. Do a simple calculation. multiplication. What is 1 plus 1? Answer? Any other answer? Umeanguka. What is 2 plus 2?
Just 2.
Just 2? Sema tu nataka tu. I learn best from people, and learning never ends. So, 1 plus 1 is equal to 3. 2 plus 2 is equal to 5. Only in the context of what we call synergy. Nani ataka kutuambia, ukisema tunafanya kazi with synergy, or synergistically, what does that mean? When you have synergy, and sorry, mimi ni mwalimu na ulizanga maswali tafadhali. One of the ladies, I'm the only son of my father, so I've grown among women. I respect women a lot. And this is why I'm biased towards women. In fact, I'm so biased towards women, people think, huyu mtu ni kama mtu wa wanawake. No, I'm not there. I am a pastor, as some people will tell you here. So, women, what is synergy? Yes, ma'am.
It's when one or more people or organizations come together and each brings what they have and we do one towards achieving a common goal.
Beautiful. That is correct. When I join with my brother here, we achieve more than if I work alone and he works alone. That is what participation is all about. And unless we come together and participate, it will be difficult. When you combine these two ladies and these two men here, you don't get the output of that plus the huyu plus the huyu plus the yangu. You get more than output ya watu ine. We get output ya watu watano. If you combine 3 people and another 3, you get 7. You get more output than ile ya mtu akifanya kazi peke yake. Now, a lot of people ask questions like, how come we have been having such wonderful programs in this country and we don't seem to be moving forward? Do you know that's a big question? After the other day nilisikia mzee anaitwa Raila akiuliza, what happened to South Korea? We were together in 1963. In terms of income, Singapore, Malaysia, Kenya was actually doing better at independence than those countries. And ask me, I will confirm. I've been to all of those countries. Wacha niwaambie, tunasikianga maneno tu. Those countries are so developed, so well developed, that you wonder what has happened to us in Kenya and to a lot of countries in Africa. I would give you the solution for you to think about. They introduced accountability and governance in their things. And an important part of that was to ask wananchi, mnataka tufanye nini, na wanasema na inafanyika. Now, haiwezi kufanyika where wananchi wanauliza na kuenda nyumbani. In fact, I think wananchi kama wakati wa Bwana Mutavi, huyo mzee amesema, he is known because he was saying, we agreed, yes, kwa nini hamkufanya? Implementation ndio shida. We don't implement for many reasons. Some are financial, hatukuna pesa. Mutavi anatuita meeting. And he doesn't give us allowance. Kwani hao watu watatoka mahali wako na nini? You know, these are practical things. And I've seen some, let me put it this way. Okay, somebody warned me and told me, don't say you're stupid anymore. Because I think a lot of leaders are very stupid. And I'm a leader, I could be accusing myself. You are a leader, you could be stupid. Because you don't reason rationally. Ani mtu akiwa na pesa kidogo anaona yule mwingine hapo ako na pesa. No. People are suffering in this country, I tell you. And until we wake up and start asking hard questions and sacrifice, we'll never get anywhere in this country. Until we sacrifice our time. If you have something small to spare, please take yourself to that meeting that the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry will invite you, for example, or the county government. Please, if you have something small, because going there will contribute your ideas. And I thank you very much because you are here. And nyinyi, I'm preaching to people who are already converted. Nyinyi munaelewa kwa sababu mmekuja. Because sio kila wakati tukiitwa tuitishe pesa. I'll tell you something I did. Let me, Mami, pole. Let me come here. I'll tell you something I did the other day. Tuliitwa na mkubwa mmoja tukamwambie, what is bottoms up and how can it be done? For example, na mutaiona kwa my PowerPoints, by the way, it's not, it's some, okay, I'm a professor of management and strategy, and I'm among the few Kenyans who have done development and administration at PhD level. So hii maneno ya bottoms up, up down, inajua, ninaelewa. And we introduced with Bwana Mutapi a long time ago in local government. So naelewa haya maneno. Kwa hivyo niliitwa na mkubwa moja, niende nikaseme, what does the theory say? Nikapeleka ngari yangu mbali sana, Bali. And then I met a lot of people. Sijui nani mwingine alikuwa na mimi hapa. Tukimaliza, because somebody recognized me as a professor of these things, anakuja, wewe ulipewa bahasha yangu, iko wapi? I had a lot of trouble. Niwaambia, jameni, si mkubwa alikuwa hapa angewaambia kama amenipatia. You know, these suspicions zinatupeleka mbaya sana. Kwa hivyo, mimi nilienda kivyangu. Of course, I was given accommodation and a few other people. Kila mtu alipewa accommodation, good food. Kuondoka watu wanaitisha pesa ya transport. Na ni professionals. Mimi nikaondoka. Watu wanapigia simu. In fact, I had to plead with people to protect me because it looks like ukiitwa lazima upewe pesa upatie watu. That is rubbish. But when it comes to the youth of this country, vijana wana kitu jameni. Tusiite vijana and then we don't give them at least some fare. No. So that is what I wanted to say. South Korea, Malaysia, Singapore na zingine zimeendelea mbele because wananchi wanauliza maswali. Wanauliza maswali kama huyu mzee vile alikuwa anauliza. Tafadhali, let us be more active. Let's go to the next one, please. There is hii maneno ya public participation na nini, I call it community participation. Communities make the public. And therefore, whether I use community or public, I mean the same thing. Na Mr. Ocheng akitaka kuwapatia notes, niko na nyingi, mkasome. But participation is a process by which communities participate in their own development. Ukingojea mtu aje kukuuliza utadevelop namna gani, hiyo sio mzuri. Women who are here, you need to tell people, no, we don't want water, we want that road to take our skuma to the market. We don't want this, we want this instead. We don't want another dispensary here, but expand the other one there. So these are the things. Na katiba yetu ya 2010, ikasema participation ni lazima. Ndio naona watu wakipeleka county governments to court, wakisema hii haikuwa na participation. Yaani tumepewa power wananchi. Tumepewa power. Tuulize maswali. Sijui kama siasa unaweza completely write off, but let me declare my interest. I wanted to be your senator, nikapima nikaona siwezi. Hata hiyo ingine sitaki. I just want to be interacting with wananchi, nikiwaelimisha, because even that way I'm doing my role. I wanted to be the senator, nikafuata wakubwa wa Ukambani, nikakuta kuna watu wanaogopa kwa sababu ya whatever reason. Nikasema wacha hiyo siasa ikae, wacha niongee na wananchi kwa njia nyingine. So I want to clear my interest. I'm not here because of politics, because I don't want 2022 hamtaona jina langu kwa papers. So let me be very clear and open to you. Now, what is important is this: public participation is the only channel that is going to change this country of Kenya. I tell you, without any hidden agenda. Tunatakiwa kufika mahali tuwe tunauliza governor, senator, MCA, na any representative in any body to sign a contract with wananchi akisema nikiingia nitafanya 1 2 3 4. Sio mambo mengi. 1 2 3 4. Akishindwa tunatoa yeye, tunaingiza mwingine. But to do that, you need to be very active yourselves. It is important to note that there are many discussions and definitions of public participation that have happened over time. But the key thing is, wananchi wanna participate in decision making or not. Let's go to the next one, please. Kwanza lazima niwapatie academic thing. Kuna mama alikuwa anaitwa Einstein, akina mama mko mbele, ambaye ndiye alianzisha hii maneno ya framework ya participation, na akasema pamoja na wengine, participation can be seen in 3 things. Number 1, non-participation, where leaders manipulate and do a bit of therapy. Unaona vile akina mama mnafanyia watoto, mtoto akiumia unashika unashika mahali ameumia, si ndio? That is therapy. A lot of our leaders have been doing that since 1963. Wanatuita, wanabembeleza sisi kidogo, and then they tell us what to do. That is called top-down approach to development. Sio bottom-up. Some of these things are theory, but we can make them practical. Now, number 2, tokenism. Kupewa ka token kadogo. Mahali na tumesikia bwana Mutabi akiongea vizuri hapa. Yaani in some sectors, in some associations, watu wanaita wananchi, wanaoinform tu kwa newspaper. That's it. How many people end up in the meeting for? Ama wana consult their friends, tumeambiwa hiyo. Because they want to survive in their seats. And they placate us. Kama kudanganya watu tu. And then tunaendelea year in year out. Maendeleo yanaendelea kuwa mabaya. Environment inaharibika. Food security hakuna. Maugonjwa yamekuwa mengi, and we cannot have improvements because we have allowed people to do that. But there is number 3, where you give citizens, the public, real power to decide things for themselves. And this is what Kara has been trying to do, to empower Kenyans. And this is what Ansido Foundation has been trying to do. But they need your support. From here, tafadhali, utoke ukiuliza, nitafanya nini na improve my community. Tusaidiana watu tuendelee mbele. I would like to ask you what your experience is. Bwana Mutabi na CEO wa youth organization yule ameongea, wamesema the experience. But we'd like to hear more from you. Let's go to the next one. In 1993, another lady called Mosa proposed a very simple distinction in terms of these levels of participation. 1, akasema, you can distinguish in 2 ways: development efforts, which look at community participation as means. When you have means to something, you are talking of a strategy to take you somewhere. Then participation, which is seen as an end in itself, where you do something for the sake of it. It's not bad. If you have an output, that is good. Let's go to the next one. I know my time is running out. As a means, participation means communities are mobilized for the purposes of achieving a certain outcome. For example, you might be mobilized to discuss about water, market issue, sewerage. But as, and this one could involve 2 things, bottom up or top down. Munafikiri ya Deputy President ya bottom up ni kitu yake ameanzisha, This is what we used to read in school. It is the development that took South Korea, Singapore na wengine mbele, by the way. People walianza kusema hapana. Tumeunismizwa na politicians wakati mrefu. Tutakuwa tukiwauliza kwanza wa sign contract na sisi. Utuambie, in 5 years I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. If I don't, nitoeni. Na tuko na power ya the voters card. Ingawa kuna ma complications in Africa. So, we need to pay attention to that. As an end, you measure participation in terms of transfer of power. And I think that's why we are here. Are wananchi powerful enough to really dictate to politicians what has to happen? Ama wananchi wamekuwa placated, wanadanganywa hapa na power, wanaitwa wananunuliwa chakula, wanapewa transport, alafu wanaambiwa sign here. Ukisign wanaongeza noza huko. Wananchi wamesema wanataka maji, sio barabara. This is what politicians do. And we need to start asking questions. Kenyans, we shall never develop until we start asking questions to our politicians. Let me give you a simple example. How many of you know that a member of parliament in Kenya, according to the CDF Act, is supposed to spend 30% of the money on youth? Nani mmesoma hiyo? So we want to ask our MPs, wewe umekaa hapa miaka 10, miaka 5, tuonyeshe vile umespend pesa 30% kila mwaka on youth. Na tuko hapa tukitetemeka, watoto wetu watafanya nini? Yet serikali imepeana pesa kwa CDF. They need to prove to us what they have done with the money. MCA sio mambo ya popularity kama wakati tulikuwa wakati za zamani. MCA should be somebody who can tell people, let us sign a contract. Mimi kama MCA wenu hapa nitafanya ABCD. Mambo matatu sio mengi ama maine. Usipite 6. Akishinda mnatoa mnaingiza mwingine. So let us please exchange with our people. Na najua tutaendelea mbele. Twende to the other one. Now, if you want to involve communities in development properly, involve them in decisions effectively. Don't come and placate people, cheat people, pembeleza wao kidogo. No. But politicians will do that if we are not asking questions. We'll discuss more in the plenary. Let's go to the next one. Now, taking stock, what are our experiences? What are the successes? I can only speak from a general point in terms of what I've seen in Kenya with Kara and a few others. Our successes are wananchi wachache wameanza kuona what participation is, like yourselves. It's very important. That is success. To buy the idea is very important. To be called and come when you are not even expecting any payment is a success. Success ingine ni kwamba some county governments, seriously in this country, have actually involved the people properly. Na ndio nimesikia Deputy President, let me just talk like that because I'm a consultant. Sisi consultants ni malaya. Unajua malaya? Nikiitwa na mwingine nitaenda kumuelezea, this your views, this is what I think. Kwa hivyo, kuitwa na Deputy President ndio kumaanisha na support yeye, even though I support what he's saying. Bottom up is another very good approach that has succeeded in a lot of counties. Not many, let me say in a few counties. Because people wanaulizwa, mnataka nini? Wanasema, politician wanataka kuweka hii barabara because inaenda kwake. Sisi hatutaki barabara, tunataka maji. That is bottom up, where you dictate what you want. Number 2, success ni kwamba some MCAs, by the way, and some governors have actually signed contracts with their people. Anasema in 5 years I want to do ABCD. Mnasikia governor mmoja ambaye alifanya kitu mbaya sana. Ukienda kwao na uchukue story yake, hakuna mtu anaweza kumtoa ugovernorship. Anaitwa Obado. Si kuna msichana inasemekana alikufa. You can't remove that man. Sio vile watu wanaongea hata Raila ameshindwa. Why? The guy signed a contract with the people and he has been implementing those 6. Wacha hii mambo ya shetani imekuja ikamshika. Sijui kama ni yeye, it's a court case, so I don't know whether he's the one. But he has signed a contract with the people. Na huyo mtu hata mkifanya nini hawezi kutolewa hapo kabla his term. Raila amejaribu ameshindwa. Wengine wamejaribu Na mwingine anasema huyu ni muuaji. Sasa muuaji si atolewe. Kwa nini hajatolewa? I want to tell you this. When you sign a contract with your people and do what you have said, hata ikiwa ni kwa kanisa, kwa women chama, kwa youth sijui nini, you'll succeed. And that is what is bottom up. Signing contracts. And I have listened to the bottom up people. Kila county is now signing a contract with the deputy president in case he becomes president. Na anaambiwa Machakos. I can tell you about Machakos because tayari wanaongea hiyo maneno. Wame-identify sekta 4. Ya kwanza ni hii. Wananchi hawana pesa mfukoni because hata wakizalisha mazao yao hakuna mahali wanauza. So we need industries based on agriculture. Amesema atasaini hiyo. And in 5 years, if there are no industries that process our products, tutatoa yeye ikiwa ataingia. Unaona hiyo kitu ndio inaitwa bottom up. Anyway, lessons are that there is a lot to learn. That is the lesson. Challenges, kudanganywa hapa na pale na some politicians. Opportunities iko mob. Na Bwana Mutabi amesema opportunities, I don't want to go over that so that I don't bore you. My dear Kenyans, watu wetu wa Machakos, mkiona jina la Lewa, sio la mbali, ni Mkamba kama nyinyi. I'm a neighbor to Bwana Mutabi here. And Lewa, maana yake ni kwamba Lewa anaelewa. Asanteni, God bless you.